everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Coffee Break Podcast, hosted by myself, Jama, and
Slim.
And today's episode is a controversial one.
Yeah, I really like this sweater. Not gonna lie.
Appreciate it.
Fire.
Appreciate
This
it.
guy,
Appreciate it.
he's taking care of business over here.
It's what I do.
Just
I'm
saying.
out here trying to change, trying to look better for the
Just saying.
others.
Tell them, not me. Tell them. Come on, man.
Tell them, like,
Tell them.
You thought I was making a move? Huh?
No, yeah, not over here. Not over here. Not over here.
But today's topic it's something that I've always been thinking about, and it's really controversial. So, just wanted to say that right now. But it's about Nick Cannon and all the kids that he's having, fam.
So explain to them kind of what's happening first.
Okay, so what I want to say, when Nick Cannon married Mariah Carey, they had, I believe, 2 or 3 kids. I'm not sure how many. They had twins or some sort.
Yeah.
I believe they got a divorce like 2013, 2014, right? It was at that stage in 2013, 2014, the man started hoeing. He went to everybody who was willing to have children.
Yep.
He started having children with anybody and everything. Okay?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
We're at the point right now where we have, just last week, the 12th kid was born. I'm pretty sure 13 to 14 are on the way right now.
Mashallah. Mashallah.
And right now we're at a point where he has like a clan. Like, you know, the movie Cheaper by the Dozen?
Mm-hmm.
He has so many kids out here. And I think the purpose of this topic today, I just want to talk about is what he's doing right, or is what he doing is wrong. You know, like from just our perspective, like from what you know from the life and what you think what fatherhood looks like. Is it irresponsible to have that many kids as a man? And I just want to throw it to you. What do you think about that?
Well, this is a controversial topic, so let me start. Let me take it easy for a second. You know, before we go really down into the depths of it all. But let me ask you this: how many kids do you want to have, if you could choose?
Max?
I mean, your preference.
Max.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm
preference.
talking
Preference.
Yeah,
preference.
your
I
preference.
think 2 to 3.
2 to 3.
Preference.
Okay.
Because
That's
I always think about like this. If I was to buy a car,
Mm-hmm.
I would want enough kids to be in the back without having to kind of buy like those big Dodge Caravans that every Somali person has. I don't want 7 kids in the background, you know?
Okay, that's
2 to 3, because I know there's enough space for 2, and I know 3 is the max that the car can carry.
for a 5-seater.
Yeah.
I disagree. I would love to have like 5 to 7 or more kids.
5 to 7.
Yeah.
Okay, touch on that. Why is that?
I think well, it goes back to like my values in like family and like growing your generation, you know, like pursuing or like continuing on your lineage for years to come, right?
Okay.
I think there's value in teaching kids certain aspects about the world that you might not get if you have only a few amount of kids, you know, like you can raise the next great people.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And your odds of that will grow like substantially. You know what I mean? Think about it. If you have 2 kids versus you have 7 kids, one of those 7 kids could be a genius, right? One of those 7 kids could be far more talented than the rest of the people that are around you in your neighborhood,
Sure.
as opposed to the odds that you have for 2 of those kids, right?
Sure,
You
okay.
get the same type of love and care and support from their parents, right? As opposed to the 7 kids who are left less time and support from their parents and more time for them to kind of figure things out on their own and shape their identities, right? So I think that kind of helps them, in a sense, grow and become stronger people.
Pause. So what you're saying, if I have more kids, I'll have less time with them, allowing them to kind of shape their own personality. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying family. What I personally think is that families that have little amounts of kids, 2, 1, 3, tend to smother their kids, overprotect them, overstimulate them with good things. They kind of don't know what's really out there. You know, they seem to me as the more sheltered kids, as opposed to the kids that come from big families. You know, the kids that come from big families, I feel like the older kids shape their identity very quickly, and they become like parental almost in a sense. And then the younger kids, they obviously take their time to grow, but they tend to become more shapely or more like identifiable people in society earlier, I think, personally. And I think that that's just based off of their many different siblings that they grew up with, right? Many different ideas, many different conversations, exchanges.
So you agree with Nick Cannon?
I think Nick Cannon's doing the right thing for himself. Alhamdulillah. I mean, mashallah to the guy. But the only thing I do disagree with for him, and I know you're looking at me funny, bro. So,
because you know, the thing is, I'm giving you time to make your case because I don't want to interrupt you, but you don't do your
I
thing.
think Nick Cannon not living under the same roof as them hurts them a lot, a lot. If I was to have a lot of kids, I would actually prefer to have one roof over us all so that we can all keep an eye on each other. You know what I mean? I think that's the strongest way the family can grow. And I think the more individuals in the family, the stronger the family. That's what I personally think, you know? So I think the disagreement I have with Nick Cannon is that they're all separated in different like mothers, different households and stuff like that. But if I were to have one girl who's physically able to give me that much kids, that's asking a lot.
You're gonna put a girl through 12 kids.
That's the thing. Like I have to have a spouse who also sees the value of a big family. You know, and for her, it's a lot more to stomach because she's gonna have to do the physical pain. You know, so like, we have to see eye to eye on that thing, right? But I think that
throwing it back to your question, how many kids would you want?
Ideally, I'd like to have 6 kids. 3 boys and 3 girls.
So half of what Nick Cannon has.
3 boys and 3 girls, yeah. Okay. But if I was to like, you know, if my seed is strong and Allah can give me 12 and I have a big house for them all to live in, I'm doing it. What's stopping me? What is stopping me? Because like the stuff that niggas were saying online is like, oh, we're not gonna be able to go to recitals and tournaments and
you're talking about Akon.
And yeah, Akon, right? He was like, oh, you're not the girl he was interviewing or she was interviewing him, right? She was like. And there's a famous clip going on to give you guys context, right? Of Akon discussing this with some interviewer, and he goes on the support of Nick Cannon. And he says, "Those kids don't need a father in their life 24/7. They're fine the way they are." I disagree with that. I disagree with that. I think you need to see your father and your mother every day at home, and they need to be accessible for you in order for you to understand certain things in life. Gotcha. You know, so that is where I disagree with, but. The more kids, the better the household. What do you think?
The more kids, the better the household.
What do you think?
So I'm on the side that thinks what Nick Cannon is doing is irresponsible.
Okay.
So by all means, I love the idea of big families. You know, we come from Somali households. You and I are one of the few families that have under 5 kids.
Yeah.
It's typically like most Somali families out here have 6, 7, 8, 9. I have a cousin who has 12.
12 siblings. Yeah, both my parents, tidbit, have 16 brothers and siblings.
Exactly.
And brothers and sisters, sorry.
My grandfather on my mom's side has over 100 grandkids. Jeez. You know?
Mashallah.
So it's like...
Did I say jeez, mashallah? Astaghfirullah. Allah save me.
It's I like, don't get me wrong, I think it's amazing. I love to celebrate life. I think it's absolutely beautiful to have that many kids. But you have to look at it from the perspective of there's only one father and one mother and 12 kids. Okay? Let me give you an example before I get to the specifics. If you're in a classroom, right, with one teacher, and the teacher has 30 kids, we've all been in classrooms.
Yeah.
Let me actually put it into another perspective. Let's say you're in university or college, and you have a professor, and there's 200 students in your class, right? Do all 200 students get the same level of attention from the teacher?
No.
Okay.
Not true.
Do you think that affects the way that they learn?
To some degree, yes.
Like, do you think there are some kids who are kind of left out of it, who would have preferred the teacher's attention and, like, you know, the questions and the inquiries? And do you think that the teacher could have, if the teacher had only 10 to 12, could have actually supported their students better?
I agree, but on the flip side of that, at what point are you not? How much value do you put on the student doing something for themselves?
Agreed. No, I agree with you, because at the end of the day, the student has to take it upon themselves to learn. Right? I agree with you on that. But the purpose of a teacher is to be that guiding hand who supports you throughout the process, right?
Yep.
Because what's the point of school if there's no teacher in the front of the classroom marking your grades?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Agree or disagree?
I agree 100%.
So taking that example back into a family, if you're one father who has 12 kids, first and foremost, financially, that's crazy.
Yeah, well, this is assuming that you can afford it, you know?
Let's
No one's going to have 12 kids
exactly.
and not be able to take care of them.
I know Nick Cannon when it comes to finance. He doesn't have to worry. Man
He's
is a multi-millionaire. He's good to go. We have never heard a peep out of any of the mothers saying he's not supporting the kids. We know he's a good father when it comes to financial aspect. What I think he's doing wrong is at this point where the kids are all under the age of like 5 for the most part. Like the kids don't realize right now that they need a father figure. Later on when they grow up to be 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then when it comes to, the point where they're shaping your identity, they're not going to have a father figure there all the time. And I'm on that belief system where in order for a child to grow like into a good human being, not just a good human being, but in order for a child to develop well, you need a good mother figure and you need a good father figure.
Yes.
Like you need both of those present at all times. Going back to the point where you made, where it's like the one thing you disagree with Akon is the father has to be there all the time. I know we agree on that, right? But I think right now he's banking on the idea that the kids don't know that a father is needed right now. But later on, when the father is there and he has to divide his attention into, because there's 12 kids and 6 mothers. So that's another issue, but I want to get into that later. So he has to go to 6 different houses, go to all these kids,
and then connect to them.
You can't. There's not enough time in the day, brother.
I agree, 100%.
There's gonna be kids who are left out, and later when they all turn 18, I know there's gonna be a documentary. I know there's gonna be an article about these kids coming out and saying that he kind of took his attention more towards this family, and I kind of got left out. And even if it's 1 out of the 12 kids who is left out of the situation, fam, he failed as a father. Like the point of a father is to be there for all your kids. In my opinion, even though you succeeded with these 11, I think you failed as a father because you weren't there for that one. And that one is the one that you were supposed to be there for, right?
100%.
What do you think about that?
And I hear 100% of what you're saying, but you're saying it as if there's only certainty that he can't see all of them at a reasonable amount of time.
Can I interject? He came out with an interview recently about Christmas, right? And one of the questions that were asked was, how do you do it? And he was like, honestly, I'm having a very hard time dividing my time. So he is coming out publicly and saying that it's difficult for him at this point where the kids don't even realize a father is at home. Later when they're 10 and 12, brother, and I don't know how many males or females there are, but I think for a male, you're going to need a father to guide you.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. What can Nick Cannon do now?
Fam, I think he messed up already.
No, I mean we already agreed that there's a problem at hand. Is there a solution? Because now he has 12 kids, and he has to be a father to 12 kids and 6 different baby mamas, right?
Yeah.
So is it like the only option he has is to try, right?
Of course, I'm not saying by no means
cut them off.
I'm not. You're in the situation. You have to be able to figure out how to deal with it at this point. Yeah. And my thing is, I think you need to be in close proximity to all of them.
I 100%
agree.
I
know Mariah.
But then okay, let's move it away from the Nick Cannon situation because we both agree that the mom and the dad have to be there.
Of course.
You're in a house and you have 12 kids. You still don't think you can give them the attention they need to be people they need to be?
I think it's irresponsible to have that many kids.
Give me the reasoning behind that because I disagree with that heavily, and I'll give you my reasoning after.
The reason why I think it's irresponsible is because to be able to divide your attention 12 separate ways, on top of being the breadwinner at home, supposedly if you're a man, most likely you're the one who works, you're going to be working 8 to 9 hours a day, right?
Let's assume this is a standard house. The dad works a 9 to 5, comes home every night. The mom stays at home, but there's 12 kids in the house, and they all have space. Let's say that the space is there, finances is there. We're just now discussing about the time.
Okay, fair.
Right?
So let's say you work 9 to 5. You come home 6 o'clock.
What is irresponsible?
There's not enough hours in the day to keep a relationship with 12 different kids.
What is that relationship?
A healthy relationship.
What is that healthy relationship?
Being
because I believe in smothering it. You never addressed that point.
Okay. In my opinion, there's a difference between smothering and being there for your kids. Something that I know we both watched the Akon interview.
Yeah.
And I was actually watching it on my way here because I wanted to make sure that I got all my points right. Because most of what he said was blasphemous, like how Stephen A. Smith says that.
Yeah.
Absolute blasphemous. So something that he said was, as a father, I don't have to be there for the specifics.
Okay. So
specifics being the point that he brought up is the recitals. If my kid, let's put it into the context of today. If my kid had a talent show, I don't have to be there. That's not the father's role to support the kid in that way. That's the mother's role.
I disagree.
I think disagree with that point, or do you
I disagree
do you agree
with
him?
I disagree with that point.
Okay, I think that's one of the points that he said.
Okay.
Okay. So, and he was like, when it comes to smothering. I think that's a point that we have to agree on because But
what is smothering? We need to define that because I feel like we have two different definitions of that. Because you're saying that being there for them, you're saying that you can't physically have enough time for 12 kids.
Correct.
I disagree. I think that the time in which that you are describing to give to those kids, I think is smothering. Like, how was your day? Did you do your homework? If I have 2 kids, I can do that successfully. But if I have 12 kids, then the ball game changes. I have to do things different. That's why I said the older kids develop their identities earlier. They become parental roles, You start to give, that's kind of how it happened for me in my household, I started becoming the quote unquote second dad, And then my dad started asking me, or he started giving me almost status updates of how the other guys are doing, I think that develops over time. And I think that is attention that the father is giving to the elders, right? But he's also giving a different type of attention to the youngers, right? And
that's a fair point.
And when you kind of when you have to with what to relate with what you're saying, right? I don't know why that came out so weird. To relate to what you're saying, right? I think that dividing that time that you're trying to give them is smothering. Because I don't think that a kid, especially in a big household like that, needs the dad or the mom every single day to be on their case, No, I think they need to figure stuff out for themselves.
It's not about being on their case, it's just about being present.
Yeah, but what does that mean exactly?
Being present is just being able to spend time with them.
But I think being in the house, I think being in the household, I'll give you an example of what I consider spending time, and you tell me if you agree.
Okay, cool.
I'm in my room.
Sure.
As a 11-year-old, 12-year-old playing COD.
Okay.
My dad is in the living room watching CNN.
Yeah.
I consider that spending time with him.
What?
I do. We're in the same presence. I can go crack him whenever I want to. We're just doing 2 different things.
Okay.
As opposed to if we were sitting together.
Okay.
Watching the same thing, having a conversation, talking to each other. I think that is it's obviously it sounds and looks better, but I don't think that's necessary. I think that being accessible means being able to be approached.
Yeah.
If I wanted to have that connection with my pops, I wanted to sit there, talk, and chill with him, I could. I have done that many times in the past. Yeah. But I also consider him being just in the house as connection. Because when he wasn't in the house and there wasn't the opportunity to go be like, yo, what's up? How you doing? That was distance.
Yeah.
So I felt the 2. So that's I'm basically saying this out of experience.
I agree with you. And I don't get me wrong, being present, as you said, is really important also. But basing this off of just my own experience, man, I think, because when I think of what a good father is, I always think of my own father, right?
Of course.
And I think what my dad did such an awesome job at is not only being present for me, but also taking the time to do specific things for me, right?
Like what? If you don't mind me asking.
For example, one day I'm just chilling at home playing games or something. He was like, yo, do you want to go watch a movie? I'm like, yeah, of course. Or something like, hey, do you want to go to the mall? I'll buy you shoes,
But
that's those little things.
But that's the thing. I don't consider that necessary to raise a kid. What you're saying right now,
I disagree with you.
What you're saying right now, I never got that from my pops, ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Okay.
He never once said, yo, let's do none of that. I respect this guy to the highest level.
Okay.
I think my dad is one of the greatest men to ever walk this earth.
Yeah.
He's gotten that from me. He's taught me so many things. I have so much different types of love for him. But what you're saying, I didn't need from him.
But as a right now, you, Muhammad Ali, right now, But I'm saying, as an 8-year-old kid, you're telling me you would not have loved the idea.
I would have loved it. It
Yeah.
sounds great, like I
Yeah.
said, but I didn't need it. I still turned out amazing.
Yeah,
Alhamdulillah.
of course.
Yeah.
But I, at the same time, I think you have to consider the fact that
It wouldn't have made me a better person.
it would not have made you a better person, but I think it would have, in my opinion, and I don't take this any offense. I just
Yeah.
feel like it would have gave you memories that you would hold on to. Because at the end of the day, God forbid your father ever passes away or anything.
But I still have those memories, fam. It's what I'm holding on to is different from what you're holding on to. That's the thing.
That's
Like,
fair. That's
you know what I
fair.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
like I consider, because like my dad taught me how to ride a bike. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know a lot of guys that I know like that we went to school with that can say that. You know, that's a very
My dad
valuable.
taught me.
I mean, we're the few. We're the few. Fam. Some niggas we know don't even know how to ride a bike, fam. Let alone their dad teach them. Come on, man.
Yeah.
So like, I consider that to be a valued memory of mine. You know, like
Okay.
I also went on, like, my dad used to be a truck driver when I grew up, right?
Yeah.
He also took me on the road with him one summer. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
shit like that is what I value. You know,
Mhm.
like little stuff, like even
That's
advice
the
I've
little, that's
got.
the little stuff I'm talking about, though.
Yeah, but like entertainment and fun is obviously it's you have to give your child that, but to do that as your role,
Mhm.
I think is a little bit smothering at certain
But
points.
can you agree that some kids are more independent than others?
Yes.
Out of the 12 kids, and
Yes.
some kids require more attention than others.
Yes.
You agree with that?
Yes.
So you can't be having the same game plan for all 12 of your kids. Some kids may be like, the situation with you being a little bit more independent.
Mhm.
That's quality time that you're sharing with your father. Some kids may be like, and may require another form of attention.
But that's, like I said in the beginning, bro. That's why in a household like that with 12 kids, the older one, they all develop their roles. You know, like
Yeah.
you have, alhamdulillah, when you have 12 kids, you have at least 2 kids that are like mother father for you. You know,
But
off bat.
that's saying if there's a huge age gap. Going back to the
If you
original
have 12
topic,
kids, there's
going
12
back to
years
the-
of
going
age.
back to this original topic and
Yeah.
Nick Cannon. This guy had all his kids in the past 3 years. Fam.
Yeah, but like you can't.
He had a bulk. Like there's no child who can take that position.
I think like to spin it back to the Nick Cannon conversation, I don't agree with what he's doing because like 6 different baby mamas, my nigga. Like, what the fuck? What are you like? You're just busting a nut anywhere at that
And
point.
another thing people are not considering is,
But if we're talking about, if we're
Right.
having the conversation about big families,
Mhm.
then I'm always going to be in support of the bigger families and the smaller ones.
I just think
And I think actually,
it's really difficult, man.
I also want to take it a step further, and this is no disrespect to anybody at all,
Okay,
but
disclaimer.
I think the people that say I don't want to have kids are extremely selfish.
How many? Depends.
Like the people that say I don't want to have any kids ever.
Okay, no,
I think
that's different.
I think
That's
those people
different.
are extremely selfish.
That's different. That's because I have a friend right now who he says he doesn't want to have kids, and that's because he spent, like, going back to the point you made, he was the father figure for 8 different kids.
So
So he, in his opinion, I'm not justifying it, he was like, I already did this aspect of my life.
that
You know?
I don't know that person.
Yeah.
But I think that's a selfish take.
But to each their own. I'm not gonna be out here justifying it, but I get what you're talking about. I just think you can't be having the same game plan. Like, for example, you, of
Mhm.
course, you're an independent guy, even at a young age.
Mhm.
But do you think your 2 little bros would have wanted that too?
I mean, like the path that I had for myself.
Yeah,
No, it's different for everybody.
Exactly.
I 100% agree.
So imagine you have 12 different plans
Mhm.
with 12 individuals. At one point, are you just circling, like you're just juggling like 12 different
No,
balls,
I
bro?
disagree, bro. I disagree. You're looking at it in a very like third eye looking in. No, bro. You're gonna have like, especially if you're under the same roof as them, there is no kid, especially if you're living in the same. There's no kid that you can have that says, "I don't think my dad loves me enough," or "My mom loves me enough."
Cap.
If you're in the same household as them,
Cap, cap.
how can that be, fam?
You know what the saddest thing is? Having a father in the same house as you, but still feeling as though you don't have a father figure.
I
Because
think
there are people who are like that. There
I
are
think that's
people-
I think that's first off. I think that's goes back to the parenting, right?
Yeah.
I think that they're not okay. Like I said in the beginning, right? In a bigger family, the kids will have their roles, so you have to attend to them based off of their roles, right?
Sure.
My dad, as the parental figure of the kids, my dad used to come to me with status updates about Ilyas and Khalid, right? He'd be like, "Yo, how are your bros doing?" You know, like he didn't come to my bros and say, "How's your brother doing?" You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it was a different, like the the relationship I had with him was different, right? So if that is being carried out the same way in a household, how can a kid say my dad doesn't love me, my mom doesn't love me? How can that be?
Fair. But do you think at any point your brothers kind of felt as though instead of, and I don't mean no disrespect, but instead of it being you, it being their actual father who's asking them this, do you think that Khalid and Ilyas would have appreciated that type of connection rather than feeling like it's some third party?
No.
You think so?
No, because and this is no disrespect to my pops too, but I can talk to them in a way he can't.
Okay.
You know, and they can speak to me in a way that they can't speak to him.
But do you think it's your father's responsibility?
No, I think that's my responsibility as their older brother
to create that type of relationship. You don't think it's your father's?
No, he did his part by giving me the role to oversee them, and I see it as like I'm his translator. You know, like he's getting to them through me. You know, so he's doing his part, but through me. You know, that's kind of how I'm seeing it.
No, I think your position and your role is awesome. Like I love it. I love it for you. I love it for your bros. They have this because like I know there's sometimes a misunderstanding between a father and kid, and you're this connection, right? But I still think there should be a father who's on one step above you, who's still reinforcing that parental role.
There is that's still constant. That's still constant.
That's the point I'm making.
That's still constant. That never changes. Like my dad will always be above me when it comes to.
I still mean like reinforcing his relationship with your bros.
No, they do have
be through you, through them.
No.
It shouldn't be like that.
I don't. If that was the case, then he wouldn't have a relationship with them, right? He still communicates with them on his own. He still takes time. He still takes the time to make sure that they're all right on his own terms. You know, but I think the value that I see from him is that he taught me at an early age how to be a dad, you know, and that's going to take me through life. Inshallah, when I do get kids, I'm going to have a completely different outlook of how to do it as opposed to if I was like in a different situation, you know? So that's where I see the value. I think and I've noticed this with other families too, that I've seen that have bigger families. It's more of like it's like almost like a roster of talents, you know, like you'll have a parental figure over here, you'll have somebody who's very extroverted and loud who can communicate in large groups, you have somebody who's creative over here, you know, like I feel like you're building a team of personalities. The reason why I was talking about smothering is because a lot of the kids that I knew growing up that had like one sibling or two siblings, they're often the ones that would tell me I can't come outside, or my mom won't let me do this, or you know, and I was like, obviously I didn't have bare siblings, I only had 3 other siblings myself, right? But I had a little bit more freedom than those kids, and I felt like it was helpful in my life growing up, you know. So those little aspects, they go a far way in life, and they assure you that your identity is set at an early age, you know. So like that's just my point, and I would love to have more kids to experience that in life, but can't be asking a girl to pop her mouth.
You bring up a good point where it's like, because for me, the cousins that I have that have many kids, they typically have one that's way older and a couple of way older, and they kind of oversee like the younger ones, right? I think that's more responsible, right? But I still believe that over 10 it's not needed, fam.
If you can, why not?
It's not needed.
Why not, bro?
And first of all, the whatchamacallit, like the attack that's gonna be going on in like your wife's body to have to carry 10.
That's why I said if she's cool with it first, she has. That's the only like thing we need before this can happen. Like I need her approval.
That's fair.
Because it's her body. Like if I could take some of the pain for her, I would. But I can't.
But I still think, man, like as a father, because maybe you and I may have a different idea of what fatherhood is, right? And I respect that, but I just think the way that I would father my kids, I don't like the term smothering. I just being present, and being present may look different between me and you, where it's like I would want to do more things with them at the same time, give them their freedom. But I really think it's difficult to develop awesome relationships with your kids. While there's so many different ones that you have to manage.
I personally think...
I just think that's super difficult.
To tap into what you're saying, I agree with what you're saying. The only difference I have is that I think the relationships between siblings is stronger between, like, as opposed to the parental and the child relationship. I think that's stronger. And if that is built with a stronger foundation, to me... the family household can grow in a better way.
But by all means, I agree with you. I think sibling relationships are the foundation of families, you know. But at the same time, I just think the way that I would father my kids, I would want to be included in that. Like I would want to know the inside jokes. I feel like I just want to navigate back to Nick Cannon. I feel like the way that he has so many different kids with so many different women, there are key things that he's going to be missing in those kids' lives.
Yeah.
And I know right now it's not that important, but later on when they're developing,
let's talk about the recitals thing though, because like Akon said that shit. What do you think about that?
I got so pissed off.
Really?
Like I was so in the fact that he said, "Oh, that's some white people shit." I'm like, what are you talking about? Like the idea of being there for your kids for something that they love. Like for example, let's say my kid was in basketball game. And I'm there to support my kid. Oh, that's some white people shit. What are you talking about, bro? That's the idea of being there for your kid.
But think about it. The question was about being at every recital, right?
No,
do you value that?
He said anything. He
anything?
said that's the mom's role. And I'm
that's
like,
idiotic.
How the hell
that's idiotic.
Are you categorizing like the whole point that he made is my job is not to raise them. My job is to be the
provide for them.
Support. The mother her job is to raise these kids.
That's retarded.
And I'll come in, you know, when as a man, I'll come in to support his development later on in life. But that's not my role. That's the wife's role. I'm like,
Akon, bro.
The way that he said that.
Notice you, noticing me. I'm not noticing my kids. Like what, nigga?
Like yo, it pissed me off. I'm like,
what's wrong with
the
that
way
guy?
that I see fatherhood is the exact thing that he was making fun of. Like I want to be there for my kids' little things.
Yeah.
I want to be there for their graduations. I want to be there for their big accomplishments. I want to be there for their marriage. Like I want to be there for I may not be there for every basketball game.
Exactly.
But I'm gonna be there for everything that matters.
The graduation.
I'm gonna be there for everything that matters. You know, and he spit on my image of what a father is.
I think, you know, and it's no disrespect to Akon because he comes from Africa, right? Africa, they don't do that shit.
I don't care.
There's no recitals and that doesn't exist, fam. That's why he's saying it's white people shit.
Okay.
You know?
Fair.
It's fair. I can understand his reasoning.
Yeah.
He's obviously wrong, right?
Yeah.
But he doesn't know better. You know what I mean?
But like he's been everywhere.
But he was not raised in this culture. You know what I mean? So he sees it as the white man's culture. Yeah. You know? Our parents do that too. Like, you know, they're like, yo, we're not going to no fucking...
Yo, when I had, like, these talent shows in elementary school...
You were one of them?
My parents were there.
Fam, you know what my mom told me when I said, can I join the ball team?
What?
Adam matay. Yakusokada. That was, yo, okay, to translate, that means, are we white? Who's going to pick you up later? You know?
Yo, but I get it.
That's just their... Like,
but those are immigrant parents.
Yeah, like he's also a part of that. So I can't even, like... I can't hate 100%, but I know he's wrong.
Like,
you know?
It grinded my gears, fam. It's like the whole concept of what a father is for me and kind of what my dad has been doing for me my entire life.
That nigga has 9 kids, too.
He does.
Yeah. So, like, we know how he's
I want to hear what his kids have to say about him. You know?
That's the thing.
I want to hear. I haven't researched into that, so I'm not going to be out here saying anything. But I promise you.
You sound like you want them to be mad at him.
I do. I
need proof. You shouldn't pray for the kid to be mad at his parents.
I need proof that his parenting style doesn't work. Because I know it doesn't work. And I feel...
It works for other people, man. The African society is like that. Like, the dad is strict, doesn't care, the mom does everything, and it works.
Okay, but I get that. But what I'm saying is, this guy is a U.S. nigga.
He's not. He's African.
No, he goes from... He goes
he's African. Akon is not... He's going to be the first one to tell you, I'm not American. He made his money here, but he's African.
Terrible father. Actually, I'm not going to be out here...
You're hating, man.
I'm not going to be out here saying he's a terrible father, but I just think he should tweak... the way...
If it's working for him, I think he should just leave it alone. If his kids are fine with it and he's fine with it, he should leave that alone. Not everything I do right is right for everybody, and you should start thinking like that too.
Shut up.
Tell me to shut up, nigga. I'll fucking put this over your head right now, bitch.
But to that point, man, I want to navigate back to that conversation. Nick Cannon, I think he messed up.
I think my only disagreement with him is that having all those baby mamas, bro, like, did you not understand you can't live in those houses after doing that? Like, I don't
care, bro. You know, I heard a random theory, and he's like, what he's trying to do is, you know how he has an immune disease?
He does?
Yeah, he has an immune
Oh
disease.
shit.
And another aspect of that, not a lot of people are considering is not, God forbid he passes away, but he has a disease that could cause something to happen, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if this man left 12 kids with no father.
Now, okay, now you're doing the most, but relax. That's going that right.
No, I said if.
That sentence right there is going too far. Like he's
if.
breeding them to be disease filled.
No.
Is that what you're saying?
That's not what I said. I
What are
just
you
meant
saying?
like he has a disease.
Yeah.
That doesn't guarantee that he's gonna be on this planet for long.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Okay.
So imagine that he, God forbid, passes away.
Yeah.
He's leaving these kids with no father. That's what I said.
So he shouldn't have kids because he's gonna die?
That's not what I said. I just mean like, now you have more of a reason to stay on this planet.
Is he going to die from his disease?
I'm not. I don't know.
Because if he is, then I agree with what you're saying.
I know he has organ failure.
If he has a terminal disease, I agree with what you're saying. That's wrong. It's selfish to breed that much kids knowing you have an expiring clock. Mm-hmm. But if he doesn't know that, then that's wrong to say.
No, but what I said is he has organ failure, my guy.
Yeah, but like...
So his body is not guaranteed to stay intact.
Man, at any point, Allah can give you cancer.
Yeah,
Allah can give you anything,
right.
You know? So like if he knows he's terminal and he's doing that, then yes, I agree with you. But if he doesn't know he's terminal, then you could have a malignant tumor growing right here without you knowing right now. And you can give birth, and then that could...
difference between it being something that you know and something that you don't know. He knows that he has a disease that may... I'm not saying... I don't know the percentage of him passing away. God forbid anything happens to this man.
Yeah.
But he knows that there's a percentage of him not being healthy for his kids.
The same thing could be said about diabetes.
But there's a difference between you projecting it to happen and you actually having it.
What do you mean?
Because this man knows he has it.
Yeah, but I could have diabetes as well, and I could die from that.
Yes, but that's...
And I could still have 12 kids. Is that going to be selfish?
That's different, though. Because
how is that different?
The idea is you might have it. There's a difference between confirming something...
No, I'm saying if I
and the idea of it possibly happening.
If I do have diabetes, type 2 diabetes, right? I can have 12 kids without an issue. I could still die from the diabetes at any point.
It's different.
But there's no problem with me having a lot of kids.
Diabetes is a way to live with it. And a lot of people are out here living with diabetes, type 1 and type 2.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the disease that he has.
It's uncurable and it's terminal?
I checked before I got here. He has an organ that was failing him recently.
Okay.
And he's constantly in and out of the hospital.
I need to know what we're coming at here, fam. Like,
no,
I need to know what you're saying.
The point that I'm making is, right? Is it you answer this question for me, and I know that the side, the perspective you're gonna come at is knowing that you have a disease that's deteriorating your health. Do you think it's responsible having this many kids, not knowing, right? Not knowing that you may not be healthy enough to see their growth moving forward?
I would agree with you if there was certainty in that, but there's no certainty in it, so we don't know. You know? That's my only thing. Like, I see where you're coming from, but you're saying it as if he has stage 4 cancer.
No, I'm not saying that.
But that's how you're framing the question.
But I know he was in and out of the hospital many times this year.
Yeah, but like I said, I could be in and out of the hospital for type 2 diabetes. A lot of shit happens to people. But
for
unless it's terminal, fam, that shit is like that's kind of playing God in a sense.
No, what I'm saying is he has more of a responsibility to keep himself healthy now.
Yeah, but who's saying that he doesn't keep himself healthy? He's rich. He's probably seeing the best doctors.
Rich doesn't mean you're healthy, fam.
Probably seeing the best doctors. Probably getting the best opinions, best surgeons if needed.
The point I'm making,
and people have lived with organ failure before. Yeah, it's not terminal.
I get that. But I was just saying there's an angle at it that I think is kind of irresponsible. That's just my angle.
I don't see it like that. Because like if like I said, if this was terminal, I would agree with what you're saying. But if he has a conditions have been lived with for long periods of time. I get that, but that's what I'm saying. If it's just a condition we're talking about, then yeah, so what? But if the nigga's dying and he's breeding 20 kids, obviously we're gonna have to start talking about that, bro. Like the clock's ticking, fam. A cat with 9 lives?
It's like the idea of when you have kids when you're older. Yeah. You know you're not going to be there for many aspects of their major accomplishments. I think it's kind of irresponsible to have kids when you're... But that's a conversation for another time. I think like 65, 60 and higher.
You wouldn't have a kid at 65?
No, because you're not gonna be
65, yeah, that's crazy.
You're
But
not
like
gonna be there
50?
for it.
50?
I think even that's a stretch, but I see it happening
50.
because like let's say they're 25, but like 50, you'll be 75, they'll be 25. I still think that's outrageous, but it's possible. Like you're gonna see them complete university, college, probably get married or something, you know. But I think having a kid later on
At 65 is crazy. Like
it's irresponsible. You're not
isn't
gonna
your
be there.
nut just like dust at that point, man? You're like, let's be real, fam.
No, they're ready to
They're
go.
still
fam.
nutting?
They're ready to go. But
They're
to
really
that
shooting out,
point, I think Nick Cannon is doing an injustice to himself, which he's not gonna realize until he's older.
I think, and I want to make this 100% clear.
Go ahead.
I agree with having more kids. Have as many kids as you possibly physically can, if the woman who's giving birth to them is okay with it.
Sure.
That is my main point I want to stick with.
Sure.
However, to have kids with multiple women like this is not only irresponsible, it is wrong, it is harmful to the children, it's harmful to the mothers, and on top of that, it's now making your name and your family name being dragged in the mud because everybody sees the flaws in it. You know? So regardless of what he's doing is right or wrong in the eyes of the family, now they have this stigma to deal with when they grow up. Like, oh, your dad has 30 kids. You know, imagine your schoolmates and your classmates are all making fun of you because you have siblings. Like, what kind of a joke is that? Like, that's a singular joke you can only make for Nick Cannon's kids, fam. Like, yo, go tell your brother, nigga. Like,
which one? I like.
Which one? Yeah, like, go tell your sister. God damn.
I just think it's so irresponsible the way that, like, you can convince me that having.
Has he spoken
kids,
on it though?
Pardon?
Has he spoken on it? Like, has he said why he's doing that?
No, he has, but I haven't been paying attention. But I'm sure you can find an interview out there as to why it is.
Yeah.
But I just think you can convince me that having 12 kids is fine. You know, I still probably wouldn't agree with you, but I would see your point. Like, you just want to have a big family.
Yeah.
You love the idea of this camaraderie, whatever.
Yeah, community.
I think it's awesome. You know, do I agree with you? Would I want it for myself? Hell no.
Fair.
But I
Fair.
agree with you.
Fair.
And that's your perspective.
Fair.
But the way that he's doing it, we're having it with 6 different women, multiple kids each woman, having to go from city to city to city to city.
They're not even around each other. Damn, nigga. This guy's doing a European tour or a US tour for his kids alive.
Constantly. Imagine having to, because
driving a tour bus to see his kids.
Being a millionaire, he probably has so much hours of the day that he has to work.
Yeah.
On top of that, now he has to go travel to these kids.
Yeah.
And be there for 30 minutes.
Isn't he on like America's Got Talent as like the host and all that?
Ago. He got fired from that.
Fired?
Yeah.
What for?
Controversy.
That was Nick
like,
Cannon?
That was like 2020.
Nick Cannon had controversy before the kids?
Tyra Banks got hired, no? Or either it was Tyra Banks or it was that nigga from Everybody Hates Chris.
You know, I always liked Nick Cannon, you know. Like, I thought he was just a cool ass guy.
Wild, you know?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Even before that, remember the Nick Cannon show?
I don't remember that.
That shit was lit, man.
Was that like Nickelodeon?
Yeah, Nickelodeon.
I don't remember. I never watched that. That wasn't my cup of tea. I was watching SpongeBob, fam.
I recently have been watching SpongeBob.
Yeah.
It is one of the most underrated shows of all time.
It's one of the best shows of all time.
I'm talking about the early SpongeBob.
The first 5 seasons. Fam.
5. 2.
First of all, I've watched every episode up until like 2020.
I watched an episode recently, and you know it's episode 2. Fuck, what was it about again?
Man, tell me the plot. I'll tell you exactly what happened. Tell me one line.
It was the one where Mr. Krabs. You remember the Flying Dutchman? You remember that guy?
Yeah.
The Flying Dutchman?
Yeah.
He made a bet with the Flying Dutchman saying,
SpongeBob?
I'm not greedy. No, Mr. Krabs.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not greedy. I can not be a penny pincher for a day.
Yeah.
Right? And then he took
it out of his pocket.
He started going, you know, he made the Krusty Krab like, you know, oh, you serve yourself. Oh, you need some extra ketchup.
Oh, I remember that. Something turned them off.
And then the Flying Dutchman came back. He was like, oh, so you're acting like this now. Okay. And then he's like, let me give you a little deal then. He's like, how about this? I'll give you all the change in my pocket right now, or SpongeBob. He's like, give me the change. No, he was like, how much is it? That's what he said. He was like, how much is it? He's like, I'll take the money.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Squidward had to stand up for SpongeBob. Remember?
But that's not how he got. That's not how he came back. You know what happened?
Oh, he got thrown back.
He sold him. He sold him, and then he was counting the money. And he went to Squidward. Squidward was like, how could you do that to SpongeBob? He was the only one saying that you're not cheap. And he was like, oh yeah, you're right. You think I should have asked for more? And then the flying Dutchman comes back. He's like, yo, this guy's so annoying. Get him out of here, bro. He's like, he wouldn't stop talking for the 30 seconds I had him. Oh my god, that show is so legendary.
So underrated, bro. I'll tell you that, and Simpsons probably. And
Family Guy season 1 and 2. Man.
Family Guy, those three, and even probably South Park.
Futurama.
Love that show.
Futurama.
You know, I heard it's coming back.
Coming back, yeah. I'm with it. 2023, I'm with it.
But yo, navigate back.
Listen. Fuck Nick Cannon and his kids. We don't like. No, I'm joking. Stop. I'm joking. We love Nick Cannon. We love him. We just don't like the fact that he has 12 baby mamas, fam. 37 baby mamas.
You know, I heard there's more coming, fam.
He's planning them?
I heard there's more coming.
So wait, does he plan these, or did he just shoot his nuts?
You know what I was thinking recently? How did he go about the process of finding these women?
How the fuck are they okay with it, right? Like, when you're obviously it's NSFW now, but if you're a woman and you're in bed with Nick Cannon, at this stage, how delusional can you be and not wear a condom?
I think there's an aspect of being the 7th or 8th baby mama. You're gonna.
Oh, they're thrilled by it.
Thrown into like media.
Oh, they're seeking it.
Now there's gonna be like newscasters outside your house asking, "Yo, how's baby number 13?" You know.
That is rough, man. Imagine just being the baby mama of Nick Cannon, fam.
Something a lot of people are not considering, bro, is like, you know, those 6 women.
Mm-hmm.
Despite Mariah, let's delete them because Mariah can do whatever the hell she wants. Those 5 women, are they allowed to be in relationships?
Oh, like on their own?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Like, are they like?
We need to put them in a house, like a Jake Paul hype house, you know? And we need to sit cameras there, fam. We need to see this shit. Niggas need to see this shit.
Apparently, something I learned is in order to talk to mothers, they talk through Nick Cannon's assistant. Like, let's say mom 2 wants to talk to mom 3 to kind of organize like a kid.
Damn.
She has to kind of be like Nick Cannon's assistant. Yo, could you set something up for us?
Damn. You know? Why would they want to talk to each other?
Like, it's still your sibling. Would you not want to talk to your sibling?
Oh, yeah, it's true.
Like,
yeah.
It's play dates or something.
Damn.
You know, isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Like, you know,
that's crazy.
Imagine all 6 of them had their own partner. In addition to having Nick Cannon's kids.
So Nick Cannon's gonna have to just pull up randomly and be like, just take over.
I don't think he's thinking long term, bro.
Yeah.
Like, imagine these women get married and then the kids are still there. He has to come. He has to now navigate this whole relationship that he didn't think.
What is he thinking? I'm just taking this in. Like, what is the game plan, Nick?
He's not.
Nick.
He's sticking in the
Nick. They took Wild Now from you, and now this is what you're doing, bro. Come on, man. Give us Wild Now back at least. We have the kids, but give us Wild Now.
Long story short, man, I just think it's irresponsible.
Nick.
Especially the way that he went about it.
Nick and Akon, notice you. Notice my kids from across the room because I don't see them every single weekend.
I'm telling you right now, he's gonna get burnt out, man. He's gonna get burnt out, and once he gets burnt out, the people who are gonna be facing the side effects of it are his kids. You know?
Yeah.
But to each their own.
Listen, man.
That's his thing.
All I'm saying is you're gonna see my family reunions, inshallah, are gonna look like fucking yearbook photos, while yours look like Rasami 1 and 2. I'm gonna see you with long hair and you with short hair, and that's gonna be your daughter and your son.
You think it's just gonna be a girl version?
I'm just gonna be like, that's Rasami's son, that's Rasami's daughter. That's it.
Bro, I just don't like. Don't get me wrong. I love kids. I love like the idea of a family, but at a certain point, the way that I want to father my kids, I just think it's really difficult to do it with that many. Because I want to give. Going back to that point, I don't think it's called smothering. In my opinion, that's my parenting style.
No, that's fair. No, everybody has their own style, and it's just the fact that you know what you're gonna be like as a parent is you're 10 steps ahead already, bro.
I have so much love to give these kids. Bro.
Facts, bro. So that on its own means that you're 10 steps ahead. There's some people that don't even know like kind of how to be as a parent or what they wanted in parenthood, and then they end up with 5-6 kids. They're like, what the fuck, you know? Or they end up with 1 kid and they're like, oh shit.
Plan, bro. There's a process of being a father. It's just not stick it in and hope for the best. You have to be financially stable. You have to be mentally there. Like a lot of people,
emotionally there too.
That's an important thing that a lot of people consider.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be there for your kids on every level. Be able to
even your wife, like you have to be there for her a lot through pregnancy.
And a lot of people don't consider this as your relationship with your wife has to be solid.
Amazing.
A lot of
Amazing.
people think once you have a kid, you guys are there's gonna be this companionship. Everything's gonna work out. No, you guys have to be able to have something solid, a foundation.
Yep.
To bring something, it's like you're creating a building on the third floor. You
Yeah,
can't do that.
exactly.
The lobby needs to be
foundation has to be built first.
You know what I mean?
100,000%. I agree.
Cannon is starting on the 12th floor.
Fam, no, he's already built the condominium, fam. He doesn't have a fucking lobby yet.
And you know the funny, I've never seen Mariah make a comment, fam. Did Mariah ever make a comment? Nobody even, I know.
Yeah, she hasn't said anything.
Mom or like
yeah, she hasn't really said anything.
Like, she doesn't want to be included in that.
Wait, it's New Year's today.
Yeah.
We're going to see her at New Year's. You know, the Times Square? Somebody should ask her. It's New Year's, by the way. So if you're watching this in 2023, this was us in 2022. So this is from the past.
Something I want to say. This is the first episode of 2023 that drops.
That me, nigga. Hell yeah.
I just want to say to anybody who's watching to this point,
yep,
I want to thank you for being with us here.
And
we have so much goals and the way that we want to build Coffee Break Podcast in 2023. We're going global.
Listen. I don't want to say a lot because there's so much behind the scenes already. I'm not gonna give him. I ain't even gonna give him that. I just want you to know, me and this guy and our other brother Mukhtar, we're working triple overtime for 100%. You guys. This is gonna be something. Oh man, just wait and see. 2023, you heard it from us.
You know, I'm just so happy that we have an audience of people watching us because right now they're seeing us in our struggle phase.
Yeah.
Later on, when we're like number one,
inshallah,
they're gonna be those same people are just gonna be around like.
I was watching them then. Yeah.
When they were struggling.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So inshallah that happens. But to close out this episode, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Coffee Break Podcast. Please follow us on all our social media. You can see that below. Like, follow us on our TikTok, our Instagram, our YouTube. Subscribe.
Hey, dang.
We are out.